right now, we've got a very important management joining us. Naresh H. Bhansali, the CEO, Finance Strategy and Business Development of Emami, joining us. Hi Naresh, thanks for taking the time out and joining us. I'm just reading out a report which was put out by one of the brokerages post their interaction with 14 consumer and retail companies to gauge the sector trends. So they're saying that their interaction suggests that slowdown is a reality and therefore they see a risk to the top line growth guidance given by companies in the Q1 guidance. What has been your experience about slowdown, and is there a risk to what you had thought your revenue growth would be for the full year?
So far as FMCG industry is concerned, I believe there could be a little slowdown from what had happened in the previous year. Because on and all monsoon has been good, but inflation, high inflation and other factors might impact to a little extent, and which we have witnessed in the first quarter results also for all the companies across. So, but despite this, there would be a reasonably good growth for the FMCG sector per se. And for Emami also we expect reasonable good growth, because in the first quarter we have grown by 13%, led by some volume growth also. And in the second quarter, in the times to come also, I think this kind of a growth would be sustainable. 13 to 15% kind of a growth for the FMCG sector seems to be reasonable, achievable.
Okay. Mr. Bhansali, so what are you targeting if you could break up volume growth within the rural areas as well as in terms of urban consumption? What is the volume growth on an average that you're clocking in this quarter versus last quarter for a comparable basis?
So we expect a volume growth of around 8% to 8 to 10% kind of a volume growth we still expect. For Emami, since we are targeting the people in the masses, and consumerism is still intact in the country, and monsoon had been good, as you also know. So on and all, I think 8 to 10% kind of a volume growth is still achievable, and value growth, all in all growth of 13 to 15%. So a price growth of around 4-5% kind of a price growth is something what is expected.
Any early signs what the growth will be in urban areas as well as in rural? Because, you know, the understanding is that on the back of good monsoon, rural growth is going to be significantly higher than the urban growth trends.
Yes, it is higher. The signs from the rural side is more optimistic, and it appears to be much relatively higher than the urban side. And as I said, for us, for FMCG and for Emami, and for the products which are catering to the masses, almost from both sides the growth has been good, although relatively the growth from rural sector is higher. But otherwise it's from urban side also it's growth, since it caters to the masses.
Okay. Mr. Bhansali, can you just give us a sense of how exactly the advertising expenditure would do within this current scenario? Is there a lot of competition now which is seeping in, and hence maybe you could possibly hike up your advertising expenditure and the consequent impact on your margins as well?
I think there is both, as there is little slowdown and also there would be a competition. But on and all, I think the same kind of a proportion of advertisement to sales which was there in the previous years would continue, because then it ultimately has to reflect in the sales number also. So from sales number side, there would be little depression on the advertisement spend, but from competition side, people have to spend more. So I think the same advertisement to sales ratio has to continue going forward, as it was there in the previous year.
Naresh, in the last quarter, you have managed to improve your margins a fair bit, particularly your gross margins, which went up more than 350 basis points. In Q2, what is the margin picture going to look like, or on account of rupee appreciation, etc., and lower pricing power, you think there's not going to be much by way of margin expansion?
See, in the first quarter there had been a good margin expansion for us, and we expect for the year also there would be around 200 to 300 kind of gross margin expansion to happen, because the agri products prices have particularly menthol and other products has eased compared to the previous year. And there had been some price increase, cost increase in terms of petrol related products, but on and all, despite this, there would be a gross margin expansion of around 250 basis points.
How's the relaunch of your Fair and Handsome product been for this quarter?
It's doing extremely good. The response has been very good. That Jada campaign is doing extremely good, and good growth is coming from Fair and Handsome as well.
Any further price increases that you're considering for any of your products?
We are not expecting an aggressive price increase across. For the year, we had targeted a price increase of around 4 to 5%, and we are still sticking to it.
What about down trading? Is that something that you've seen or witnessed in the rural markets, and has it increased according to you, Mr. Bhansali, at all over the past 2 quarters, especially when the rupee started depreciating significantly?
We have not seen this as yet, but I think going forward this may happen because with the consumption, as I said, we are catering to the masses. So for FMCG, Emami is concerned, down trading doesn't really have any impact. But often when the times are tough, people get into the down trading. They move from the premium brand to the masstige brand, and from masstige to the popular brand. So I think there would be, going forward, if the pressure continues, then there could be a down trading there also.
We last spoke to you post your earnings of Q1, and at that time you said that there was a sharp decline in your raw material prices, particularly menthol. After that, in the last, say, a month and a half or two, has there been a further decline in your raw material prices?
Menthol almost has remained at the same level, 50 rupees here or there. It has remained at the same level. It has not increased, and somewhat it has decreased also. So it's almost at the same kind of a level. And for other products, other agri products, there has been some decrease. But after that, there has been some increase in the prices of petrol-related products, kind of packaging products there, and particularly LLP also. So there could be some adverse impact of this, but on and all, despite this adverse impact, because of the price reduction on major raw materials, on and all, there would be an expansion of, as I said, 200 to 250 basis points on the gross margin level.
Okay, let me just end on a very light note. Any new launches that we could expect from Emami, particularly in the winter session, that we should look forward to?
We have recently launched face wash. It's not only for the winter, but we have recently launched the Boro Plus face wash, and the initial response has been very good. Over a period, it's not just related to 1 month or 1 quarter or 2 quarters. Over a period, we expect to come out with new launches in healthcare and personal care segments going forward also.
All right, Mr. Bhansali, thanks very much for that. So do watch out for Emami. The stock is absolutely flat in today's trade, but they expect a reasonably good volume growth. That's what they've indicated, of around 8 to 10% odd.